Thank you all for joining us. This is Financial Poise webinar, Structuring and Planning the M&A Transaction. It's a part of the private company M&A Bootcamp 2020, sponsored by the Business Gift Company. Slide 7 of the PowerPoint summarizes this episode, and slides 8 and 9 summarize the series generally. Speaking of the slides, we're not going to step through the PowerPoint in order, nor will you have to listen to us read any slides. This webinar, like all Financial Poise webinars, is a conversation. You can keep the PowerPoint handy, however, because we may indicate what slides our conversations are touching upon as we proceed. That way you might be able to take notes if you so choose. Our panelists are, and we're joined today by Jonathan Friedland. Jonathan's a partner with Sugar Law Firm, which is a national boutique law firm where he's a corporate partner who focuses on representing companies in distress. Phil Buffington. Phil is a partner at Adams & Reese LLP, a full-service law firm located in the southeastern United States and Washington, D.C., where Phil represents financial institutions in a wide array of transactional and regulatory matters. We are also joined by Garth Tibay. Garth is the founder and managing member of Value Defined LLC, an Ohio-based business valuation and litigation support firm, and strategic partner of the GBQ Partners Limited accounting firm. And lastly, we have Jacqueline Brooks with us. Jackie's a corporate partner in the Baltimore office of Saul Ewing Arnstein and Lair LLP. Saul Ewing Arnstein and Lair LLP is a national full-service law firm, and Jackie concentrates her practice in general business and commercial law negotiated transactions. I'm your moderator. I'm Robert London. I'm with Jasmine Schlesinger LLP, which is a full-service law firm in Garden City, New York, just outside of Manhattan, New York, where I negotiate business transactions on behalf of my clients. We appreciate that you are not spending your time and money to hear infomercials, so our full bios are at the back of the PowerPoint if you're interested. This webinar is a production of Financial Poise. More about Financial Poise can be found on slide 91 of the PowerPoint. Speaking of macro level, let's talk about differences in equity purchases versus a merger versus an asset deal, or particularly equity and merger versus an asset deal. Garth, why might a buyer pursue one over the other, and are there any potential tax elections and the like that can be made in connection therewith, as they say in our business?
So, although there is tax advantages for a buyer to buy assets and write up the assets for purposes of write-off, there are other considerations that may make a stock purchase more advisable and more advantageous. And those have a tendency to go towards the transferability of contracts, licenses, permits, leases, various types of contractual arrangements that when purchasing stock, there is the potential of getting those assets and liabilities transferred over without any type of contractual change. And in the event that the business has some very favorable terms with vendors, it could very well be that an asset purchase may cause that particular arrangement to be renegotiated, and potentially the terms and conditions and pricing might change. And again, that could be a reason to look at a particular stock deal. Now, there are some favorable elections that they're to some degree rare and slightly complicated. But on the other hand, they're there for the purpose of a stock acquisition that can be subsequently treated as an asset acquisition for purposes of writing up the assets. And in some cases, there's subsections within that section 338 of the code that provide specifically for subsidiary combinations as well as S-corps that provide favorable tax treatment for the acquisition. And in some cases, the additional liability that may arise to the seller could be offset by net operating losses that they may be carrying forward. So the strategy is there and in certain facts and circumstances may be the right strategy to use.
Thank you, Garth.